Hi, this is Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and today we're going to be taking a look at some smart plugs from our friends over at GOSUND. Keep watching to find out more. Okay, so in today's video we're going to take a look at some smart plugs from the people over at GOSUND. Now they reached out to us and said, would you like to take a look at them? And it's like, well, we've seen a lot of smart switches and all that kind of stuff in the past, but yeah, why not? I haven't seen any in a little while. Let's see how things progress. Have they become easier to install? Do they work any better? Do they offer any new features? And the answer to all those is yes, yes, and yes, I think it is. So yes, definitely easier to install. I've installed one already in the Mike's Unboxing kitchen, and it is currently monitoring the battery levels of a charger, which is working out, because I want to take some pictures of the moon later. Anyway, I'm getting off the subject. So super easy to set up, nice and simple, fits in the socket very easily, no obstructions, nicely rounded plugs which fit into pretty much any socket, so you've got no issues there, and best of all, they're at a fantastic price. So these at the moment, the twin pack, at the moment on Amazon, looking around about £14, which is actually phenomenal value for money. They seem to be exceptionally well constructed, and they work as they're intended to. So let's take a look inside the packaging and see what we actually get. So you get, normally you would get two plugs, but like I said, I've got one set up already, which we'll take a look at in the app very shortly, so you can see what that's all about. But here is the plug itself. So as you can see, it's a circular design, so not to interfere with any switches that may be on either side. And also if you've got any kind of USB sockets, they're going to be completely out of the way, so no issues there. These ones are actually branded with the Too Nice logo on. I'm not too sure where that kind of ties in with GOSUND's branding. Maybe it's a sub-brand, something like that, I'm not entirely sure. If I do find out, I'll let you know in the comments below. But essentially for us in the UK, this is absolutely perfect. It rated up to 16 amps and up to about 3,500 watts of usage. So these can take quite a lot of abuse, although most of you are probably going to be using them for things such as monitoring, I don't know, maybe a laptop or computer. At the moment, when we're all on lockdown, wouldn't it be really nice to be able to plug one of these into the games console or one of the PCs for the kids and be able to switch it off randomly when you think they've had too much time on the computer? A little bit evil, but it's good fun. So anyway, that is some of the use case scenarios for it. But also, if you're security minded, maybe you want to let people know that there is actually somebody home, even though we're all home at the moment, but when we're all allowed out and we can start going places, maybe you want to use one of these attached to a lamp, for instance, so it comes on and switches on so people think you might be home. In the app, you can actually set these things up so that they can do timer settings, countdown settings, all that kind of stuff. Or if you just want to use it as like a slightly more futuristic sleep device. So what you can do is you can actually connect this to your device, say for instance like a bedside radio or something like that, that you want to switch off at a certain time. So you can set it for a countdown, maybe half an hour, whatever it may be, and the switch will turn itself off after the allotted time. So lots and lots of flexibility there, and actually quite a nice little unit. Feels, again, very well constructed. It does actually feel very reminiscent of the kind of plastic from the Apple iPhone chargers. It's got that kind of glossy, high density feel to it, which I kind of like. On the side, there's only one control feature of this, and that is a override switch. So you can press that button, nice clicky button, and that will turn the switch either on or off. And there is a blue LED when the item is off, and there's a red LED when the item is hot or on. So really good. So let's take a look at the app and see what's going on, and I'll show you how you go about installing it. So if I plug this in, and we'll install a new one of these into the app just now. Okay, so installing the app, very straightforward, very simple. Now actually, I've already got the app kind of technically installed already. There is an app available on iOS devices, Android devices, and it also works with IFTTT, and also works with the Xiaomi Mi apps as well. So you can use pretty much any of the apps which already support smart things, or smart life as it's often known. So on my particular phone, I've got quite a few different ones set up. So I've got Smart Life, which you can use, which is the kind of the recommended one, or you can use Otim Smart, WeLink, all those kinds of things, because they all generally tend to work on the same kind of frequencies and the same products they will generally pick up. But obviously, for simplicity, if you just want to have a set of these and you haven't got an existing setup already, just go ahead and use the GOSUND app. So with that said, I'm going to plug this in now into a wall socket, and then we'll go into the setup. Now when you plug this in for the first time, you'll notice the light on the side flashes quite quickly, which means it's in setup mode, and it flashes in blue. when you go into the app and then it starts connecting, then actually it will change as well. But we'll take a look at that a little bit later. So I'm going to plug this in now and we'll get this set up. So actually the first thing I'm going to need to do is to make sure that the Wi-Fi is actually on the 2.4 gigahertz spectrum, as these do not work on the 5 gigahertz spectrum. So you do have to bear that in mind. I'm going to go into my Tenda app now and change it so it's in smart setup mode. If you want a Tenda box or Tenda's distribution system, you can click on the links up here to have a look at them. So we go into Smart Assistant and it looks like we're already connected to 2.4 gigahertz. So that's no problem at all. So we can go straight in and do the setup. Now again, in the setup, you can use the GOSUND app. I'm going to use the Optim Smart app because I've got a lot of other devices all in there and I like to keep things all put in together. So as you can see already, this is my previous mini spark plug, which actually we'll take a quick look at now. So we've got an on-off switch. So if I press that button, that turns the switch off. If I press it again, it turns it on, and I can just about overhear the relay in the kitchen of the device turning on and off. You can, like I said, you can set up a timer. So if you go on timer, you can add a tolerance of about 30 seconds discrepancy either way. So if you want it to be precise, then maybe not the one for you. But obviously, because this runs on remote servers, you may find a problem with that. But generally, a countdown timer is relatively accurate. You can go into countdown mode, so you can set a countdown however you want it to, however long, obviously a few hours. I think you can go for a full 23 hours and 59 minutes if you wanted to, or 24 hours setup. So there's that as an option. But what I really like is actually the electronic usage. So I've had my charger out in the kitchen, charging up my camera battery for my Lumix camera. And you can see at the moment it's saying that it's using 23 watts. The current power draw is 1.4 amps. The current voltage on the socket itself is 243 volts, which is about right because we're a 240 volt system here in the UK. And the total electricity used is a 0.01 kilowatts. So we can get an idea of how much money is actually being spent. So if maybe you're in a household where someone's got a particularly large amount of electrical goods and you want to keep an eye on how much they're spending on your electricity bill, then maybe get some of these, plug them in, plug their devices into them, and you can monitor their usage, which again, a really useful thing, and maybe you can make the money back on actually purchasing them in the first place. Happy days. So let's go into the app now and try and get one of these connected. Now, I don't know if I've gone too far. I may have to unplug it and plug it back in again. There is a kind of like a timeout on these devices, so if you don't actually connect to them, they kind of revert into normal mode and they will get out of pairing mode. So I'm going to plug this back in. And now what we need to do is click on the plus icon to add a new device. And in all of these apps, they all pretty much look the same on this section here. So I'm just going to choose a smart plug and confirm that the indicator's blinking rapidly. So the device is blinking rapidly, so click OK. And it asks you for your password and all that kind of stuff, which I'll be blanking out. Hit confirm when you've got the right passwords and settings in there. And then it'll go to connecting now. Now you should find when this gets to around about somewhere between the 7 and 15% mark, you should find that it's actually connected, and you'll get a tick box saying the device is found and all that kind of stuff, and it's registering. Sometimes it might take a little bit longer. If it does, it means that it's not picked it up properly and you may need to start again. So I would just wait for us to carry on and do the rest of the setup. So yeah, device is found and it's all connected. Excellent. And it says adding device succeeded. So in a moment it's giving it the name of Mini Spark Plug 2. You can change that. So I'm going to change that to something which is going to be memorable, and I'm going to call it Star Wars. There is a reason why that lamp is there. So Star Wars, and we'll hit save and we'll hit done. So now at the moment, as you can see in the app, we are turned off, which you can probably see up here anyway. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to disconnect the plug. Actually, no, I'll leave the plug in there, and all I'm going to do is to plug in this device into it. So we're plugged in, it's ready to go. So all I need to do now is to press the button and it comes on super quick. That is really responsive. Some of these apps and some of these switches, kind of you press it and there's like a goldfish moment, and it's like, oh yeah, turn on, and then it eventually does it. On these particular ones, super quick. Look at that. That's like instantaneous. It's almost like, well, that's actually probably quicker than what it would be if I actually physically press the switch. That is so impressive. So I'm getting carried away. So what I'm going to do now is go into our Google Home setup, and we're going to add this device, which it should do pretty much easily anyway. And I'll see if there's any devices not linked. So yeah, we've got linked to you, so Star Wars. So we're going to click on that one. We're going to add it to a room. And we're going to stick this one in the studio, hit next. And there we go. So now if we turn all the studio lights off, this will be turned off as well. So let's give it a try now. So, hey Google, turn off Star Wars.
Sorry, I didn't understand.
Okay, so you probably noticed there was a brief interlude in the video there. There is always something a little bit weird with the Google devices. So sometimes they just don't recognize certain words you say. Whether it's my dialect, quite possibly. But anyway, moving on. So I've actually changed the name of the device to Stormtrooper because, well, Stormtrooper. So now it works properly. So, hey Google, turn off the Stormtrooper.
Nothing's playing right now.
Hey Google, turn off the Stormtrooper.
Okay, turning the Stormtrooper off.
There we go. Sometimes Google Home can be a little bit funny with that, but it doesn't matter because we can always use it in the app. So if we press the button, we can get things to work as they should do. So yeah, Google Home has a little bit of learning left to do. But again, we can set this up in Google Home. We can use the Alexa app and we can use IFTTT. So flexibility, not a problem. Price, definitely not a problem. A couple of these for less than the price of, well, a couple of takeaways. You can't go too far wrong. They're really handy. I really love using them around the home. We have them all set up. Well, as you can see from the app, we have them set up in various places. So we've got our smart TV controlled by the on-off switch. The computer turns itself on and off, all that kind of stuff. There's loads and loads of things you can find to do with these. You can put them on a kettle or something, so you can have it set to wake you up in the morning with a nice cup of tea. If you've got a percolator, fantastic. Get it all ready, loaded up with coffee and water. Get it set up so that around about 6 o'clock or whenever you get up, it turns itself on and starts making you some fantastic coffee, and you have that nice smell of coffee going through your house. Anyway, I'm digressing now, getting away from the whole point of this. These are really cool. If you want to check them out, there'll be affiliated links in the description below, so you can check them out for yourself. But in the meantime, these have been the GOSUND electrical smart plugs. I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll be catching you in the very next video. Thanks for watching.